So now that we've talked about twisters, baits, tank busters, AoE tank busters, we've talked about all that. Here are some miscellaneous stuff. Okay, so here's the cast of Heartless Archangel. Now watch the party's HP over here. Everybody goes to 1. It has an additional mechanic where this healing debuff, incurable, you have to wait for this to fall off, which basically means you can't really precast anything. Shields and stuff work for this. So for all of these HP to 1 mechanics, it does not remove a shield. When mechanics like this happen, when you go to 1 HP, it doesn't actually deal damage to you. It just reduces your HP to 1. Damage proc abilities, I don't think they work. Like if you have TBN, it doesn't actually proc your TBN. It will just take your HP to 1. So it's not actually damage. You cannot mitigate this. But anyway, so when this falls off, you can heal. Basically, Photon, Heartless Archangel, Charybdis, White Hole. I'm sure there's others too. Yeah, there's one in SOS2. It's all the same thing. It's all HP reduction to 1. So it is important to know about this type of mechanic. We're going to talk about ExaFlare. ExaFlare is the easiest and hardest mechanic in the game. It's very easy in the sense that all that's going to happen is an AoE is going to appear on the ground and it's going to have an arrow showing you the direction that it goes. And all you have to do is dodge it. That's literally it, as you'll see. Okay, here we go. Here's the cast of ExaFlare. We call them RespectSaFlare because you must respect ExaFlare. Now, look at this ExaFlare, okay? Here's the AoE and there's a big ass fucking arrow telling you I'm going to go this way. So this is going to go like this, all right? So there's going to be an AoE here, and then here, and then here. That's all it is. But, all right, there's 2 more. Okay, it went by. We're moving over. Okay, I get a little close to this one. That's okay, though. I know I'm... Ooh. That's okay, though. All right, now nobody died. So that's an ExaFlare. This is Trine and Haircut.
Talk about haircuts, drummer. Tell us all about that. I bet you're great at that mechanic.
This is the cast of Trine. This is similar to ExaFlare in the sense that you need to like move into the explosion, but instead of happening like this, it's more like this. Think of it like literally like a triangle, right? So you have a triangle here, fucking triangle here, and then like a triangle here. Here's one right here and one right here. Now, this is a combination of a Trine mechanic mixed with a haircut mechanic. Now, the reason why we call this haircut, this cast of Wings of Destruction is the same thing as from a 24-man. I don't remember what 24-man it was. I think it was the Weeping City. There was a boss in there that had a bunch of hair. And one of her abilities was she would attack with her hair on one side of her body. We did like weekly 24-mans, and if you got hit by haircut, you had to change your hairstyle. We had that rule in the FC. So that's why we call it haircut. So basically how the haircut works is it's just going to hit the entire side of this boss. So if you were to look at the boss's hitbox, right? Everything on this side is going to be hit because this wing is glowing. So this is a Trine into a haircut at the same time. So you have to find the safe spot on the safe side of the boss while at the same time finding the safe spot in the Trine. So there's no Trine right here. So right here is going to be safe because there's no Trine. The order of the Trines matter. The reason why the order of the Trines matter is because, so you see how these two appeared at the same time? So that means these two are going to blow up and then the one back here is going to blow up and then this one right here is going to blow up. So what we need to do is we need to first identify the safe haircut side. We can't be over here. So the safe haircut side is obviously right here. Now the safe Trine spot is right here. So we're just going to move here and then we're going to move into the first one because this one is going to blow up at the same time as the haircut thing is going to go off, okay? So right when this goes off, we're going to move into it. Trine is the same concept as an ExaFlare. Okay, move into it. There you go. Just that easy. That's Trine. It's just another form of ExaFlare. It's just presented in a different way. Instead of moving across the arena, it blows up portions of the arena. And then haircut is basically you're just on one side of the boss. You're in the safe side. There's been a lot of haircuts since I hit 30, but I normally just shave my head. That way I avoid the embarrassment from the barber. But in this game, there's been a lot of haircut abilities. In E9, which is the current raid tier, there's a triple haircut. As you can tell, I've got hit by that one. Okay, I'll I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop. So haircut has happened again beyond that 24 man. But so whenever you hear someone say something like that, like a haircut mechanic or something like that, that's what they mean. Okay, now you have Trine and then ExaTrine. This is another form of the Trine mechanic. It's basically the same shit. Okay, you have these chunks that are dangerous. You want to be in the last explosion and move into the first explosion. In this particular case, 2 is the first explosion. So that means we want to end up on 2. Okay, this is the second chunk. So this means the last chunk is going to be where we're standing. So right now, we're going to stand here. And then when we see this over here blow up, we're going to move into it and we're going to be safe. And now we go. Just that easy. Same concept. ExaFlare, Trine, ExaTrine, all the same concept, okay? The rest of these don't really need to be talked about too much, but they are important. These are just like miscellaneous mechanics that have appeared throughout raid tiers. This one is called Morn Afah. This is a massive raid-wide damage. This is going to hit a person and you just need to soak with that person, okay? Okay, so you see how much damage that did to the group? Look at all of our buffs here, okay? This is very important. Okay, so whenever someone says like Morn Afah or Mega Holy, this type of stuff has happened before. Whenever there's massive damage like this, you say it's like a Morn Afah, it's like a Mega Holy. These are like iconic abilities in this game. Basically, it's just a very, very extremely hard-hitting ability that hits the entire raid. That needs to be soaked. Prey, this is a less common mechanic, but basically Prey started in this fight, Imdagood. Prey works just a little differently each time it's been introduced, but basically whenever a person gets a marker like this, it means that they either need a shield or they need to be healed. In this particular case, if Prey goes off and it does damage, it will put a paralysis on you. Because Marobi has a shield here, he's going to be fine. But if he didn't have that shield, it would deal damage to him and he would get a paralysis. So plus Galvanize, so it goes off, the Prey snapshot, and it didn't do any damage, so he's fine. But whenever you see that red marker above someone's head, that normally is referred to as a prey marker. And the reason why it's a prey marker is because this boss was like the first one to do it, and it just happened to be called prey. There's another version of it in E2. Look at this here. This is the same marker as before, except for it functions just a little differently. In this case, you don't need a shield really. All it's going to do is reduce your HP to like 1. The reason why it does this is because during this mechanic, there's a stack that goes out. So this person right here, he has a party stack that the party needs to soak. But because the stack goes off at the same time as the prey, the people with the prey can't soak. There's a final mechanic here, which I want to talk about too, and that is the gaze. This is a look away. This is just a simple look away. You have to look away from either the player with gaze or the boss. Sometimes the boss will do a gaze attack and you'll see an eyeball. And when you see that eyeball, you have to look away. If you don't look away, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. You can get petrified, you can die instantly, you can get stunned. Basically, don't look at the fucking gaze. Like, don't look at the boss. Okay, and this one, it's called Hellwind. It's not called Prey, but it's the same concept. It's just kind of a different flavor. All right, so the stack went off, the gaze went off, no one got hit because the gaze is right here, but the party is right here, and the party is facing this way, which is important to know. The eyeball was right here, and the two prey people up here, they just simply looked away. This is a combination of multiple mechanics that we talked about. Party stack, that's one. You have a prey, which we just talked about, and then you have the gaze, which we talking about now. Gaze has appeared a lot throughout Final Fantasy. It's also in E8. We call that peeping. If you look at Shiva when she gets undressed, you're a peeper. No one likes a peeper, so don't fucking look at Shiva when she's getting undressed. Now these are flares. This marker right here, basically, you just know that this person is going to take some damage. There's been different iterations of this. If you get this, just move away from the party. Now, because there's 3 here, you're just going to spread out, basically, with the party in the middle, you know, or some shit. Or the party stacked on 1 and the other 2 go far away. Flares, pretty easy. Just get them the fuck out of the group. Dynamo and Chariot. Dynamo and Chariot are probably the most iconic in-out mechanics, okay? All Dynamo is in. Chariot is out. That's all it is. In, out. I think over time, people have started to say in and out more, but people still say Dynamo and Chariot. Dynamo and Chariot came from Nail, this boss. This is a Dynamo. All it is, the safe zone is inside the boss right here, or it is severely out. One or the other. So the safe zone is either inside or out. Look, man, we want melee uptime. This is in. Dynamo in, okay? It's a donut. Chariot means get the fuck out. This is why you get the fuck out, because the chariot is that wide. If you're the silver samurai, if you're the greed god, then you can keep full uptime. So in, out. Woo! That's nice. So that's Dynamo, that's Chariot, just in, out. Okay, confuse. Basically, confuse is you just lose control of your character, okay? So what this is gonna do is there's gonna be a mechanic that forces you to attack another player. These four boys, they got confused, okay? So it looks like that. And if you watch my character here, I'm gonna go towards the closest person. And I also get damage up too, so if I hit anybody, I'm probably gonna kill them in one hit. Confuse is on like the same concept of Mindjack. You just lose control of your character. Confuse, you attack other players, but Mindjack, your character just moves on its own. But regardless, you lose control of your character and your character will move on its own. Here's why they call it Mindjack, because in T8, Avatar did a Mindjack. It took control of the tank and it forced the tank to attack the closest target. I guess Mindjack and Confuse are kind of the same thing. This is Force March. Now this has an arrow. The arrow is pointing this way. So this means that wherever my character is facing, I'm going to move in that direction. So it's very important for me to face my character in the correct direction so that Forced March doesn't move me into like AoEs. Right now, since my character is facing this way, the Forced March is going to make me go this way. So I turn my character. So here's what I do here. This might look a little confusing, so I'll explain it. Okay, so my character is facing this way. So the Forced March will take me this way. But I just turn my camera to triple check that this is the direction that I want to go. So as you can see, my character moves this direction. That's all the Force March does. It just makes your character run. Here is Stillness Motion. Stillness is arguably the hardest mechanic in the game. I was saying ExaFlare, but now I kind of think Stillness. I'm gonna show you what you have to do for Stillness. Okay, you ready? Okay, did you see that? Here, hold on, maybe you didn't see it, so I'll do it again. Okay, did you see that? All I did was not move. That's all I did. You don't move, you don't breathe, you don't do anything. It's stillness. This is the latest iteration of this ability. However, it first appeared as an ability called Blighted Bouquet. Blighted Bouquet was exactly the same thing. You have to stand still or you die. Now, you would think that not moving would be an easy mechanic, but it turns out that it's not. And the reason why most people refer to those mechanics as stillness is because they decided to put a don't move mechanic 11.5 minutes into a fight, and the amount of times that a group will instantly wipe because one person decides it's a good idea to get a GCD, you kill everybody. People are mad. They're pissed. So stillness has left a scar on the population of Final Fantasy XIV. Now here's Stillness. Ordained Stillness. See, I even detarget the boss. Purple. Okay. Stillness dodged. Here's the opposite. Here's Motion. Motion is you just move. This is Ordained Motion. All you have to do is move. Okay. Dodge, dodge, that's it. This is the colored type of mechanic. This mechanic is when you get a specific color on your character. In this particular case, I have a white debuff. Some people have a dark debuff. So in this case, you want to do a mechanic on the opposite color. So if you have white, you want to do a mechanic that is black or dark. If you have a dark, you want to do a mechanic that is light or white, whatever. Because of this, it separates the arena. So right here is white, right here is dark. So if I stand in this white area, I'm gonna die. So I need to move into the dark. And when I get hit by the dark, it's gonna swap me to dark. So now I need to move into light. So I was light, then I was dark, now I'm dark, now I'm back to light. And now I have to peel off because, oh my God, I peeled off when I had home gang. What is wrong with you? You know we're broadcasting this live on TV, right? On Twitch TV. Oh my, you even threw a tomahawk, dude. Jesus Christ. These are Titan jails. Jails appear multiple times. They've appeared in E4. They've appeared in Titan. They appear in Ultima. So how the jails work is you will be targeted with this. You basically just get thrown in jail, dude. If you do not blow these up, they will explode. So blown up, blown up, blown up. Easy mechanic. These jails normally go on healers. Titan likes to bully healers. So there's a healer jail in the middle. Basically, this jail right here has a cast bar, granite impact. If we don't kill this before this happens, this will explode. So this is a DPS check. But, you know, we're big dicks, so we just blow it up, you know, whatever. You know, we just blow it up. So that's basically jails. Just puts a person in a jail and, you know, you have to blow it up. Nisi and Rot. Nisi and Rot have the same concept. It's a debuff that you have to pass in between players. The basic concept of this is very simple, and I'm just gonna stick to that because Nisi is a big pain in the ass, okay? Nisi is a huge pain in the ass because you have to constantly pass it between players, and it requires like precision movement and that type of shit. We're not gonna focus on the actual strategy of the mechanic. I just wanna focus on what it does. Okay, here's Nisi. Rot is very similar. The only difference between Rot and Nisi is Rot, you cannot pass back to the same player. You have to pass it to a different player because once a player comes and grabs Rot off of you, you get a debuff that makes it to where you can't have Rot again for X amount of time. It's the same concept. You have to pass it between players. And that's what I want to focus on. So when people say like, oh, it's like Rot, it means, okay, so you have to pass it between players. Oh, it's like Nisi. Okay, so you have to pass it between players. These things right here, this is Nisi. So how this is going to work is this has a timer. If this timer falls off, the debuff falls off. Because you have to keep this debuff with you during this entire phase, he's going to have to pass it to me. So then I have the debuff. When his falls off, I can pass it back to him if I choose. So right now, we're not going to pass yet. Okay, we're going to get the fuck out. Now look, right here. See this? Rab came to me and he passed this to me. Nisi. Now in 36 seconds, this is going to fall off. So that means in 36 seconds, I have to pass this to someone else. It can be Rab. They can come pick it back up. That's fine. But we need to keep this debuff throughout the entire phase to pass a mechanic later in the phase. Rot is very similar, except for imagine Rab passing this to me. Instead of being able to like spread Rot, you just pick up one. So Nisi, you can spread. If one Nisi touches another Nisi that's the opposite color, then you die. It explodes. Okay, so Nisi is actually way harder than Rot in my opinion. With Rot, if you pick up Rot off of another player, that player will get a debuff says that they cannot receive Rot for X amount of time. So if you run out of people to pass Rot to, you're gonna wipe. When you pass these debuffs, how you pass them is you just walk through the player. So that's Nisi and Rot. Enumeration. This is Enumeration. You have two different circles here. You have an orb here and an orb here and an orb here. Now, Enumeration is between 2 and 4 players. You have to have that many people inside of that circle. You cannot overlap. So like basically you can't like Venn diagram this shit and have a person here. So in this particular case, these enumerations are always 3 and 3, but enumerations first appeared in A6, and those enumerations could be 2, 3, or 4. You basically just go with these orbs. However many orbs you see, you basically put that many players inside. That's pretty much it for enumeration, actually. Towers. This is a tower. Now, if you'll notice, there's one panel here and one orb. This tower requires one person. That's how you can tell. There's many different towers in this game. This one requires a certain amount of people. So this is one. Well, all towers will require one, but some require more. So like, for example, we'll look at this. This tower requires 2. So the first tower required 1. This tower requires 2 because there's 2 orbs. And finally, this last tower will require 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 orb here, 1 orb here, 1 orb here, probably an orb back there. Yeah, so basically the towers, you just have to stand in them. These towers look different than like ExaFlare towers, for example. But basically, when you see a tower in the game, just stand in it. Here's a ExaFlare tower. This is just another tower in the game. But this one only requires 1. There's no fancy orb. You just stand in it. It's literally it. Just stand in it. Now, in this game, sometimes you will have to LOS a mechanic. Line of sight a mechanic. This boss is going to cast an ability. You have to position yourself so that there is a wall in between the boss and you. This wall is this ice chunk right here. We're lining up here. Here is the wall. Here is the boss. So when this boss casts Propeller Wind, it will hit everything like this. But all of this area right here, all of this area will be safe. So this is the Propeller Wind cast. We have to LOS this. Propeller Wind. So that's how you LOS it. So I think we're done except for one last thing. Defamation, because defamation appears in multiple places. All defamation is a massive AoE that you have to take away from the group. There is going to be a massive explosion over here. It's this thing right here, this defamation. There's three defamations. Boom. Right here. Look at this AoE. Look how big this fucking AoE is, okay? This is massive. This is defamation, and it appeared on this person all the way over there. Since we're here, we'll talk about the Christmas tethers and the Far Tethers. Now, Christmas means close. Obviously, the 2 arrows is pretty easy to figure out. You have to be close to your tethered partner. So in this case, me and Lean are tethered together, so we need to be stacked. I'm here, Lean is here, so we're close together. There's also a different type of tether that is blue, and the arrows are pointing the other way. And in that, you just have to separate. In this particular case, the tethers, they're blue tethers and they have an arrow like that. This means we have to be far apart. 4 people are tethered together. Basically, you have to separate. Yeah, as you can see, I run all the way south and then the tethers resolve, and yeah, that's how you do the mechanic. So that's pretty much it, man. That's a lot of mechanics. It's a lot. There's more we could talk about, but I just feel like we covered most of the important ones. I feel like if you just started playing in Shadowbringers, or if you're starting to play in Endwalker, or even in Stormblood, some of those you don't even need to know about.
That's the end. We're done. Yay! Another video.